And just where did you find the wig, Deborah?
I think you know exactly where I found it, Nola. Just as you know exactly what it was used for.
I know nothing of the kind.
It was just one more make-up triumph for you, wasn't it?
What?
Nola, this is the wig you wore the night you murdered Margot Dorn.
You're mad.
Why don't you try it on for me, huh? I'd like to see what you look
Where
like
did you
in this
get
wig.
that wig? What right did you have
What right did I have to steal it from you?
How did you get to this house? It's illegal search, you know. It's not evidence. It's all a plot, a trick to incriminate me. You planted it in my bedroom. Yes, that's what you did. I've always heard about police planting evidence, and now I see it with my own eyes.
In your bedroom. Why did you keep it, Nola, huh? Why didn't you burn it? Did you want it as a souvenir of that night? A little memento for your scrapbook of memorable performances?
You don't know what you're talking about. You're simply trying to
It was your
provoke me
final performance,
into saying
Nola.
something.
You played the role of Margot Dorn.
I didn't. No.
I suppose you've heard by now.
Heard what?
The train wreck.
What train wreck?
Draper Scott is dead. He was killed on his way to prison. I suppose that's one way to escape.
I'm too late. Oh, God. How could such a terrible thing happen?
I'm sorry, Deborah. I thought you knew. I thought the police heard everything first.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, God, it's so wrong. It's so unfair.
Oh, yes, you're the one to talk about unfair. Elliot, if you could have heard the ridiculous accusations she's been making.
Nola, you're drunk.
You wouldn't blame me for drinking if you'd been here. If you'd heard what she said to me, you wouldn't believe it. But of course, I do believe it. Because we both know how desperate the police have been to try to get their precious friend Draper off the hook.
Nola, haven't you heard what I've been saying? Draper Scott was killed in a train wreck at Grand Falls.
Are you sure, Elliot? Has it been confirmed?
I'm sorry, Deborah, yes. Draper is dead. So is the police sergeant that was taking him to prison. They were both still handcuffed.
Oh, how grisly. But who knows? Perhaps it was some kind of providence, a sort of mercy killing, don't you think? The poor man faced years and years in prison.
It was for nothing, Nola. For absolutely nothing. Because he didn't kill Margot Dorn. You know he didn't. You killed her.
Deborah.
There. You see what I mean? You see what I've had to put up with while you were out doing whatever it was you were doing? She comes into this house with that ridiculous wig.
The stolen wig, Nola.
Please, darling, stop this. For heaven's sake, don't you realize you don't have to play this game anymore? You don't have to find some way out for your friend Draper. He's gone.
That doesn't change what you did, Nola. It doesn't change the facts.
Deborah, you're upset. Look, Nola couldn't have done it any more than I could have done it. Draper was alone with Margot when it happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. He was alone with her, but not when it happened. Margot was attacked an hour before he even got there.
What?
It's true. You know, I really found out. I finally understand exactly what happened in the penthouse that night. And it's so simple. It's so much simpler than I ever imagined. You were at the penthouse an hour before, Nola. You gave your name as Nola Patterson. You went to see Margot to make one last try at changing your name to Nola Dorn.
I know the game you're playing, Margot, and I think it's despicable. God, you want to punish Elliot. You want to prevent him from being happy.
Preventing Elliot from doing anything? He's quite a free fellow to do whatever he wishes. He could institute his own divorce proceedings.
You know he'd never succeed. You'd fight him.
Well, I wouldn't have to fight very hard. Do you want to know why?
No.
But I think you might benefit a little from some of the details, my dear.
I don't want to hear any cheap gossip from you.
Oh, it's hardly cheap gossip. Not where Elliot's concerned. Oh, no. His lady loves have cost me a pretty penny. For instance, my maid, Sarah.
Look, stop this. I don't want to hear anything against him.
You only knew the kindness I'm trying to do to you.
For God's sake, I'm sick of hearing about the great favor you're doing me. I know all about Elliot's philandering. I know exactly what I'm getting. But I can tell you this, Margot. Loneliness is no favor. Haven't you discovered that?
Yes, I know all about loneliness, Nola. But I also learned something else. That with dignity, loneliness suddenly becomes a little more bearable. Now, you ought to try that sometime. You might learn something by it. Excuse me. Hello. Oh, Draper, yes, how are you, dear? What? Oh, you mean you and April would like... Oh, I see. What do you mean? Yes, I heard about that. Poor David Henson died. I'm sorry, poor man. Draper, whatever you heard was probably grossly exaggerated. That woman David married never cared for me very much, and What? No! Draper, no, I don't want you coming over in this mood. Look, call me tomorrow when you've calmed down a little bit, and Oh, all right. Would you like to give me a little time? I have an errand that I've got to run. Make it in about an hour, all right? Goodbye. Sorry, Mrs. Madison, we're going to have to cut this conversation short.
You can't do that. This is terribly important.
It may be important to you, but I have to do the 11 o'clock news, and if I don't get a wig over there to the hairdresser, I'll never get ready.
Margot, we have to talk. You can't just walk out on me.
It's not a question of walking out on you. It turns out my son-in-law is coming over here in a terrible rage about something, and if I don't get this thing to the studio, I'll never be ready for the news.
Stifling in here. I don't get some air.
No, please, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Just like that. Get out. Go away. Curl up and die. Nobody needs you anymore. Nobody wants you anymore.
Elliot certainly doesn't want you. He wants your fame. He wants your wealth. He doesn't want you.
You're a liar. You're a jealous, frustrated, vindictive woman. You hate Elliot because he loves me. Loves me, not you.
For heaven's sakes, talk about love being blind. You are a complete idiot. And what are those doors doing open, for heaven's sake? It's free.
Margot!
No!
God, it was horrible. The terrible sound of it. The way her eyes rolled back into her head. And the way she fell to the floor like a bundle of rags. And the wind blowing in from the terrace. God, the coldest wind I'd ever felt in my whole life.
Oh my God, Nola! How did she just vanish like that?
Why don't you tell us, Nola? You were there.
Yes, I was there. I was there in that room with her. Only she wasn't her anymore. She was a thing. A loathsome thing. I thought she was dead. Out of Elliot's life, and my own life could... No, it wasn't that simple. I suddenly realized I'd become a criminal. And criminals are punished. It was so quiet, except for the wind, when I found myself thinking clearly. I began to think of what I must do. Fingerprints. Oh, there mustn't be any fingerprints. Then I remembered I had a little less than an hour before Draper Scott was going to be there. What did Margot say? He was in a rage? Yes. He was coming over in a rage. Then I saw Margot's wig. I knew exactly what I was going to do. Exactly. I was going to leave the building as Nola Patterson, but I was going to come back as Margot Dorn. It was almost exactly an hour later I came back to Margot's apartment house. I'd seen Draper Scott parked outside, waiting for his mother-in-law. But when she walked into the building, her collar up against the cold, not even the doorman knew the difference.
Ah, good evening, Mrs. Dorn. How are you this evening?
All right, Oscar. Listen, my son-in-law will be here any minute. Let him come straight up.
Ah, yes, ma'am.
And in the elevator, I pushed the button for basement. Then I pushed the button for penthouse. No one was in the basement. I hurried off to the street exit while the elevator climbed back to the penthouse floor. It was there when Draper arrived. And while Draper was looking at her, I was on my way home. I was a fool to save Margot's wig. But then I've always been a one for scrapbooks, reviews, clippings, reminders of my best performances. And you'll have to admit, that was one of my best.
Nola, this isn't the wig.
What did you say?
This is just one exactly like it. I asked the Mystique Hair Salon to create another one for me.
It isn't Margot's wig?
No. Any more than you were Margot. All right, we'll be here. Nola? Stephen Owen will be here soon.
Owen? Does he know the whole story, too?
Yes, he does.
But I haven't seen my movie yet.
Well, you could go ahead and watch it, Nola. They won't be here for a while.
Oh, how very sweet of you, Deborah. It's very thoughtful. Elliot, did you hear what Deborah said? We can watch the movie. We can see it before the public does. Isn't that nice?
I'm sorry, Nola. I'm really not in the mood for light entertainment.
Are you going someplace?
Yes, I am. We're both going someplace, aren't we? And it's not Hollywood, is it?
Elliot, we'll need your testimony, you realize.
You needn't worry, Deborah. I'm not planning on leaving Monticello, just this house. The original mansion of the damned. I'm sorry, Nora.
But Elliot, please. What I did for you. She wouldn't give you a divorce. There was only one answer.
It was the wrong answer, Nora.
Elliot, if you leave me, I'll have nothing. Nothing at all.
You'll still have your movie, Nora. And if it's any consolation to you, I think you're a marvelous actress.
Yes. I still have my movie. Wasn't it magnificent? Wasn't it my very best performance?
Oh, yes, Nola, it was a wonderful performance. Critics are going to rave about it.
You know, I thought it was going to be just a little picture, just a nice, modest little thriller that would come and go and be seen no more. But now, I wouldn't be surprised if it became some sort of classic.
Yes, it could happen.
It might even be an award-winning performance. Do you think that's possible?
I don't know, Nola.
I've been nominated more than once, you know. And sometimes the Academy members give the award to actors for their past triumphs, not just for the present. Do you think Mansion of the Damned might do that for me?
I certainly hope so.
Deborah, has she really confessed?
Yes, she's willing to give a full confession.
Oh, look.
Nola, I heard the whole story.
It's really going to happen. Finally.
I've got the limousine outside.
A limousine. Oh, how very thoughtful of you, darling.
Yeah, well, I was going to use it to go to the airport, but now...
Oh, and the movie is wonderful. It's simply enchanting. I'm sure that's what the critics will say. Nola Patterson is enchanting as Hester Atherton, the lovable witch, the magnificent monster. Oh, darling, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I want to thank my director, my beloved son, and all my friends who never lost faith in me through all the long years of my absence from the screen, who knew that someday...
No, Nola.
Oh, don't worry, Owen. I know I won't be there to receive the award. Someone else will have to accept it for me. Who will, Owen? Will you?
Yes. Yes, I'll accept it for you, Nola.
Excuse me. I think it's time we go.
Oh, right. Steve, her coat's in the closet.
I'm ready.
this late hour?
It's not really that late.
We all wanted to be here, April.
April, there's something you have to know. There was an accident tonight. A train accident.
Train? Draper's train?
There was a flood upstate, and it damaged a bridge.
No! Don't say anymore. I don't want to hear anymore.
You have to hear it.
No, I don't want to hear it. I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell me that Draper's dead. You're going to tell me that my husband is dead. What are you all doing here so late at night?
Oh, it's not really late.
We all wanted to be here, April.
April, there's something you have to know. There was an accident tonight. Train accident.
Train? Draper's train.
There was a flood upstate, and it did some damage to a bridge.
No, I don't want to hear anymore. Don't say anymore.
You have to.
I don't have to. I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell me that Draper's dead. You're going to tell me that my husband's dead. Oh my God, you're not even trying to deny it. It's true.
It is true, April. We just thought you'd better hear it from us. It's going to be all over the news by morning.
Darling, I realize that nothing we might say can be of much comfort to you, but I think that we feel the loss almost as much as you.
We all loved him, April. This is horrible, but, you know, we'll be with you and try to share everything we can.
I haven't lost him for 15 years. I've lost him forever.
Please. Look, you're gonna drown yourself in your own tears.
Maybe I deserve it, huh?
Oh, come on, Red. Look, you have to stop talking like this. It is not your fault that this train went and had itself an accident.
Calvin, it was our fault that Draper was on the train. There's no use blaming circumstances or anything else. We were the arresting officers. We were the one who came up with the facts against him.
Deborah, the facts were already there. We just put them down on paper.
The facts were wrong, Steve. They were all wrong.
Look, we know that now.
Look, who finally came up with the right facts, huh?
Yeah, but it was too late. It's too late. Draper's already dead.
Deborah, Draper was on a train going to serve a prison sentence.
Now, there was a horrible accident. It wasn't our fault.
Look, there were a lot of other people who were killed on that train who were never wrongly convicted of murder. You just can't put the two things together, Red.
I know. I keep trying to tell myself the same thing. It's like some cruel trick of fate or something. It doesn't help. It just doesn't. God, I wish we could have come up with the truth about him before.
Deborah, there are a lot of things in life we would change if we could. This just happens to be something that we can't change.
Look, we were not the only ones who were wrongly convinced that Draper was the only one who could have killed his mother-in-law. I mean, he was the only one there, or he thought he was the only one there.
That's right. And we weren't the only ones who had evidence against Draper. It was that doctor, the doctor that was with Margot at the hospital.
Now, what's his name?
Dr. Corwin.
Corwin.
Yeah, it's true. He said he heard Margot accuse Draper.
Why? I mean, why would she do it? Out of spite?
It's a terrible thing to do on your deathbed.
Oh, God, it's a heck of a thing to leave somebody with.
You know, I just remembered something.
What?
The testimony the doctor gave, he said that April tried to get Margot to say that Draper was innocent.
So?
Well, suppose Margot wasn't answering that question. I mean, suppose she never even heard that question.
Well, what was she saying then?
Maybe she was trying to say the name of the person who was really guilty, only she just couldn't get it out.
She said no. Of course. Maybe she was trying to say Nola.
Nola.
Calvin, that's wonderful.
Ah, why didn't we think of that before?
Yes, why didn't we?
Yeah, I just realized something. We've got Nola booked, but we haven't been able to get in touch with Chief Mallory yet. Why don't we give him another try?
I think the pleasure should be yours.
Yes, Governor, and thank you very much for your cooperation. Well, surely you must know that people of this city are deeply distressed about what happened at Grand Falls, and will do anything at all that's possible to help. Thank you, Governor. Goodbye. What is this, Greg?
Latest count on the casualties.
The death toll has reached 14, and a half a dozen people who are listed as missing.
Maybe more than that. The current up there was pretty rough, Mrs. Saxon.
I know. No.
Geraldine.
You remember Chief Mallory, of course. Mrs. Saxon, how are you? I came down here because Logan suggested I might learn more about the accident of a Great Falls right here than I would in my own tactical command room.
We keep getting bulletins every few minutes. Another name added to the casualty list. Another grim detail of death and suffering.
It's been quite an evening for you. Hell of an introduction to the TV news game.
Somebody called it a baptism of fire, and they were quite right. Especially the news about Draper Scott.
You and he were very close at one time.
There was such a time. Yes, well, I don't know what you've heard so far, Chief, but surely this is the worst train disaster in the history of this state. And it's the first major accident on the Graham County Express. Up to now, they've had a 40-year safety record.
As I understand it, they haven't even recovered many of the bodies yet.
It's going to be some time before we know the full extent of this disaster.
Well, it couldn't get much worse for some people, could it? Just the loss of Draper Scott alone. And, of course, the deputy who was with him.
Was Dwyer married?
He was widowed, but he has a son somewhere.
You know, the first few hours, I couldn't help wishing, hoping, and praying that there was some mistake. That somehow a correction would come over the wire about Draper.
We heard that the bodies were pretty badly burned, so I guess identification hasn't been easy.
Now, there were 3 surefire pieces of identification, all of them metal. Dwyer's badge, his service revolver, and the handcuffs.
Chief Mallory, you have a telephone call.
Oh, thank you.
Use the phone over there.
Okay.
They tracked you down, didn't they?
Oh, I'm easy to find. I always leave word where I'll be. Hello.
Chief, hi, it's Deborah Saxon.
Deborah, what's up?
We have some information to give to you. It concerns the Margot Dorn case. We have a confession.
You have a what?
We have a full confession from Nola Madison, Chief. Margot Dorn's killer. We booked her about an hour ago, and we would have called you sooner, but then we heard about the train wreck at Grand Falls.
Where are you?
I'm at home. We're all here. The 3 Musketeers. We're kind of conducting a private wake. If you would like to come, you're welcome.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to be right over.
April, there's something we really ought to talk about. Difficult as it is to talk about anything at a time like this. You know, I told you that I saw Dr. Buckley earlier this evening, and she said it'd be okay for you to leave the hospital anytime you wanted. And we both agreed that when you did leave the hospital, you'd come stay with the two of us. We don't want you to be alone.
But I'm alone. I mean, I'll always be alone. Thing is, I knew this was going to happen when Draper left here this morning.
No, you're not really alone. You have family and you have friends.
I don't
people who
have
love you.
Draper.
You have yourself. And you have Julia.
Now look, the only reason I brought this up is because, frankly, I think you'd be better off out of the hospital. I think it makes more sense for you to be home, to be with other people.
Miles, I'm not so sure I want to be with other people. I mean, I'm not so sure other people want to be with me.
It's not true. We want you. Nancy and Mike want you too, for that matter.
I forgot to tell you about that. You got a choice of two offers. Mike and Nancy thought you might want to stay at their place, at least until Julia's big enough to get out of the hospital. They're both working people, no children in the house, and you'd have the whole place to yourself.
It's terribly sweet of them, but you belong with us,
I
April,
don't
please.
want to think about it now, please.
Yeah, of course, right. Miles, we shouldn't be talking about these things now.
Okay. Well, they're not going to kick you out of here, of course. There's just no need for you to stay here.
When you get a chance, just think about it.
Yeah. But look, I really don't want to think about it now. I don't want to think about anything. I just really want to shut my eyes and shut out the whole world. Or whatever's left of it.
Oh, Mike, I feel so helpless. Did you see the look on April's face when she heard the news?
Oh, yes. I wonder if there's any more news about the train wreck.
Try the radio.
A state of emergency in the northern part of the state caused by the heavy rains and flooding which had plagued the area for the past week. Some 2,000 families are homeless as a result of the storms, and many thousands more have been without electric power for the past 24 hours. Governor Jennings has stated that he intends to ask for federal funds to provide relief for the communities affected. And so far, the damage is estimated in the millions. Of course, the greatest tragedy precipitated by the weather was the derailment near the Grand Falls Bridge, which resulted in the worst train disaster in the history of the state. A wreck which has already cost an estimated 14 to 20 lives, with injuries running into the hundreds. Among the known victims of the crash are Draper Scott, defendant in the recent Margot Dorn homicide case, and Sergeant Samuel Dwyer, the deputy assigned to escort him in handcuffs to begin his 15-year sentence at Redstone Penitentiary. Those handcuffs were still locked onto the bodies of Scott and his police escort tonight as they lay in the makeshift morgue in Grand Falls, along with the rest of the dead retrieved from the smoldering wreckage. Witnesses reported several explosions on the train, and the blaze which encompassed the train was only extinguished by the raging river waters which have claimed more than a half dozen of the victims. Their identities are still not known. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, this just in from Monticello. Larry, are you sure about... Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I was just confirming a bulletin, and here is a late report from the Monticello Police Department. It's still not confirmed, but we have it on good authority that another arrest was made this evening in connection with the Margot Dorn homicide.
Mike?
Yes, it has been confirmed. Nola Madison, also known as Nola Patterson, the movie star, who moved to Monticello some 6 months ago and completed the first feature film made here, has been arrested for the murder of Margot Huntington Dorn. According to our information, Mrs. Madison has made a full confession to the crime, exonerating the convicted Draper Scott. latest we have on the announcement from the Monticello police concerning the arrest and confession of Nola Madison for the slaying of Margot Huntington Dorn. The arrest was made by police detectives Deborah Saxon and Steve Guthrie at the home of Nola Madison only a few hours ago. No details of the crime and how it was committed have been released, but a press conference has been promised for the morning. There was one statement issued by Chief Derek Mallory, who was reached by phone just a few minutes ago. He said, "The confession is genuine, and they are very gratified that the persistence of his officers finally produced the true facts in the case." He also added that he was deeply regretful that the facts did not emerge sooner, in time to exonerate Draper Scott and thereby spare him the disaster which befell him on the way to prison. We'll be back with more details on this story in our next broadcast.
My God. They have the killer, but it's all too late, Nancy.
Nola Madison. I don't understand it. How could she have done it? It just doesn't seem possible.
Well, if she confessed, we'll know how before long.
But it is too late. It won't help Draper now.
No, it won't help him now.
It was the first thought I had when I saw that empty wig box, Chief. We already suspected Nola Madison, but she had a suspicious alibi.
There was another reason, the fact that Nola was an actress, and a very good actress.
Oh, and not to forget, she was very, very good at makeup.
Yeah, remember the makeup job she did as Hester Atherton?
Now, wait a minute. Are you all trying to say that Nola Madison was wearing some kind of a disguise when she killed Margot Dorn?
No, she killed Margot as herself.
Well, then she used the disguise to make her escape, and that's why Draper didn't see her.
No, it's not exactly that simple, Chief.
She stole Margot Dorn's wig so that she could play the part of Margot Dorn.
No, wait a minute. Run that past me again.
She took Margot's wig so she could be her. You see, she killed Margot an hour before Draper even got there. That's how she was able to make her escape so easily. She just walked right out of the apartment building and probably went home. Nobody knew that Margot was dying.
Because she was planning on coming back. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, that's right, Chief. And Nola knew that Draper was coming over, and in a fit of anger.
Right, she had just overheard a conversation in which Margot told Draper to come over in an hour.
So she struck Margot with a poker, stole the wig, and went out. Then she came back wearing the wig with her fur collar pulled up to her face.
But what about her voice?
She's a marvelous mimic. I'm sure she had no trouble at all fooling Oscar.
Unreal.
And look at it from Oscar's point of view. He had just come on duty, right? Now, he had no idea if Margot was in the penthouse or not. Well, this lady enters the lobby, who looks like Margot. She goes to the elevator, the private elevator, and says something to Oscar in Margot's voice.
Yes, tells him that her son-in-law is expected.
So easy for her.
But she didn't go up to the penthouse. She went down to the basement.
Exactly. And her luck held out there, too, because nobody saw her. So she just stepped out of the elevator, pushed the button to the penthouse, and went on her merry way.
And at the same time, Draper enters the lobby, looking, as Oscar put it, like the wrath of God.
That's how Draper was able to follow behind Margot by only a minute. And of course, when he got upstairs, all he found was her body on the floor with her skull crushed.
Was it any wonder that he had no idea what happened? Can you imagine how he felt?
He was innocent, just like he said.
We can't do a thing about it. That's what's so awful about it, Chief. If we'd come up with the answer a day earlier.
But you did come up with it. All of you. That's what matters.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to Draper. It doesn't matter to April. It doesn't even matter to me.
Emily, wait. Don't go out there. I'll call the police.
No, it's probably just the Wiley's dog. He must be lost again.
Emily, stop. It might be a prowler.
But we'll just look, Molly. Oh, Molly, there is someone. There's someone lying here.
It's a trick. Now, you just leave him there and come back in the house. I'll call the police.
No, you let me go see. He's hurt. Molly, it's somebody who's been hurt.
Then we will call an ambulance.
No, we can't just let him die out here. We've got to bring him in the house.
Emily, I won't allow it. Emily, I forbid it. I will tell your father, Emily.
Oh, please, you've got to help me, Molly. He's much too tall. I won't be able to manage by myself.
Emily, I will not help you bring this tramp into our house.
Molly, please. You've got to help me. Well, you can't just let him die out here.
Emily, this is all wrong.
But it's the only thing we can do. Now, please help me. Molly, help me.
Oh, my God.
Draper? Draper!
Here. You don't belong here. Just go away. Please go away. Leave us alone. Do you know where Draper is? Do you know where my husband is? Please tell me if you do. Draper! Oh my God. Dream came true. Draper's gone forever. Oh my God, he's dead.
Some of these cuts look terribly deep.
Why couldn't he have collapsed somewhere else? Anywhere else?
We couldn't very well leave him out in the yard.
This isn't just some stray cat you've decided to take in, you know.
Molly, he's hurt and he needs our help.
Well, his problems are no business of ours.
If you feel that way, then just don't concern yourself. Go to bed.
I am not going to leave you alone here with him.
Molly, I'm not frightened of him.
It was a wrong thing to bring that tramp into our house. I should have put my foot down.
Will you stop worrying?
Look at him. He's barely alive.
It's all the more reason why we should look after him.
He's gonna die. I know it. And then what'll we do?
I don't think you're going to have to make funeral arrangements, Molly. His pulse is strong and he's breathing normally.
Meaning he can get up any minute now and overpower us.
Will you stop worrying? He's not going to hurt us.
You can't know that.
He's very handsome, don't you think?
Look better to me on the other side of a locked door.
Wonder how this happened.
Oh, he must have gotten some argument with another hobo. Probably about some half-smoked cigar.
No, I don't think he's a tramp.
How can you know that about him? You don't know anything about him, including how badly he's hurt.
You're right. I certainly don't want anything to happen to him. I'd better call Dr. Tyler and ask him to come over.
Emily, put that phone down. Where is your mind? You know Jacob Tyler isn't about to make a house call. His gout is acting up. He can hardly go into his own living room. And you expect him to travel all the way out here.
Well, then, I'll take care of him.
He belongs in a hospital. You don't know if he has broken bones. He may be bleeding internally.
I don't think it's that bad.
You don't know, Emily. You're not a doctor. Your father is.
Well, all right. When Daddy comes home, he can take care of him.
That may be too late. I'm going to call the ambulance.
No, don't call an ambulance. They might come and take him away.
That's all the more reason to call them. The three of us will be healthier when he's out of this house.
No, Molly, I said no! Emily!
What's got into you?
It's not the way I want to handle it, that's all.
You got some better idea?
Yes. I'll call Daddy.
Dr. Galt is in Chicago on important business, and I don't think we should disturb him about this.
But I want to tell Daddy what happened. He'll know what's
Well,
best.
I can save you the cost of the phone call. I know exactly what he'll tell you.
Do you?
Yes, I do. He will tell you to call the ambulance and take that young man away. Or he may tell you to call the police, since he was trespassing on our property.
Oh, we'll see.
Come in. Here, let me take that for you.
Thank you, dear.
Sit down, please.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I don't know. As well as can be expected, I guess.
Logan. I wish there was something I could say. I know that Draper was your friend, and that you've suffered a terrible sense of loss.
Senseless loss. Senseless. That's what makes it terrible.
Why don't you have some tea?
No, I don't care for any.
Then why don't you go to bed?
I'm not tired.
You are emotionally exhausted.
I just want to sit up for a while, all right?
If you go to sleep, you'd sleep the minute your head hit the pillow.
I think that's what I'm afraid of. I doze off, I'm going to dream. Probably have the same kind of dreams April does.
Logan, I hope you're not feeling guilty about what happened. That is, any responsibility in any way.
Guilty? No. Why should I feel guilty? Just because I helped convict him? Took his case to the grand jury, got him a speedy trial, sat at the prosecution table? Now, why should I feel guilty?
But you had no choice. Surely you must realize that.
Practicing law without fear or favor, right?
Draper knew that you had a responsibility to do your job. He bore you no ill will.
My job. He was innocent.
But you have no reason to punish yourself.
No, I know. But If I'd been a little less efficient, taken a little more time, who knows?
Well, at least Margot's killer will be brought to justice.
That's not a lot of consolation right now.
Now that Nola Madison has confessed to the murder, what will happen to her?
That's a case I'd really like to prosecute, but since she has confessed, there's no need for a trial.
Then she'll be sentenced and sent directly to prison.
No, I'd say judging from the nature of the crime she's committed, she'll end up in a mental institution.
I pity that woman.
Pity? No. The only pity is that Deborah didn't put the pieces together a little sooner. It would have made all the difference.
Everybody worked so hard to free Draper. It's a bitter irony.
Yes, it is. He shouldn't have been on that train.
But he was, and nothing can change that. What we must do now is to do everything possible to care for the living.
I don't even want to think about April and what she's going through. She's lost so much.
I know. But we must forget our grief and try to help April to rebuild her life.
A little late for callers. Maybe I ought to get the shotgun, huh?
Oh, I heard it on the radio. Isn't this dreadful, Geraldine?
Yes, Raven.
Poor Draper, he had everything to live for. Why did this have to happen?
Well, it's a little late at night for cosmic questions. If you want the answers to that, you came to the wrong place.
I have been beside myself all night, and I just wanted to come here and be with people who cared for Draper as much as I did. I can't believe that I'll never see Draper Scott again. I can't believe he's dead. It must be true what they say about the good dying young.
Oh, take heart, Raven. You'll probably live forever.
Yes, well, if you'll excuse me, it's getting rather late. I think I'll go to bed.
Are you sure you'll be all right? I know how much you cared for Draper.
I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine. Good night.
Good night, Geraldine.
I don't think Draper had an enemy in the world. Half of Monticello is going to be mourning him.
Look, Raven, I'm feeling a little tired myself. Maybe you'd better...
No, don't go. I don't want to be alone.
Oh, I think you'll manage to survive the ordeal.
I feel so guilty. This is all my fault.
So many things are. What precisely are you taking responsibility for?
Everything was going great for everyone in Monticello till I got here. Then all hell broke loose.
Well, things are never slow when you're around.
I feel like some kind of a Jonah bringing bad luck on all his friends. Maybe I shouldn't have come back.
Well, since you feel that way, I'll be happy to drive you to the airport.
I can't go now.
No, there's no hurry. Our first plane's not till about 7 this morning.
Logan, I can't go at all. Since Draper died, it's more important for me to be here than ever before. Don't you know that?
No, but then your logic has always escaped me.
April is miserable. She needs her best friend to help her.
And you're her best friend.
I always have been.
April has more than enough people to look after her.
But I can help her. I'm a widow. I know what it's like. And besides, she has a baby. I can help her take care of her child.
Oh, yeah. Since you're such a wonderful mother, you can impart to her all the wisdom that you have gained from your experience. That should take about 5 minutes.
I'm going to make everything up to Jamie. I promise you that.
Jamie doesn't need you. April doesn't need you. I don't need you.
Well, I need all of you. Logan, don't you think that this crisis is the perfect time for us to get back together? To forget all these petty disagreements?
Petty? Petty? Oh.
I want to be your friend. Don't you think that we could start getting along now?
Why don't you ask me to do something easy, like going over Niagara Falls in a paper bag?
I'm serious.
Forget it. It's not going to happen.
I don't care what you say. I think you still care for me.
You think wrong.
You just don't want to admit it. You have a thing for me. You always have, and you always will.
Raven, that particular fire died some time ago.
Well, maybe it just needs a little spark to kindle the flame again.
I think you better leave.
Logan, I've missed you.
Raven, no games, please. Not tonight.
You always used to love those games. It's been such a long time. Haven't you missed loving me?
No.
Could be so good again, just like it always was. Could start right now. If you want more privacy, we could go back to my hotel room.
I don't think you have any feelings at all. None.
Logan, I am not going to apologize for wanting you. We're alive. Some of us more so than others, obviously.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? All of this Draper's death, it just turns you on, doesn't it?
All right, I'm leaving. But I'm very disappointed.
Sorry I hurt your feelings.
Logan, you're gonna have to rethink our relationship.
Relationship? We don't have any relationship.
You and I are married. And we have a son, Jamie.
Good night, Raven.
Now that I'm back, you can't ignore me. You're gonna have to deal with me.
Oh, I don't know. It's a pretty big town. You stay on one side, I stay on the other. We'll get
Listen.
along fine.
Listen to me, Logan. Either you're gonna love me, or you're gonna have to fight me.
What time is it?
Oh, I thought you were asleep.
I woke up. Could you please put the television on for me?
Oh, April, you really should be resting. Anyway, it's late, and I guarantee you there isn't anything decent on it.
I would like to watch it, please.
All right, but I'm giving you just a half an hour. After that, I want you to turn the set off and go to sleep.
I will.
Okay, if you need anything, just call.
Thank you.
The Graham County Express still rests precariously on top of the Grand Falls Bridge, where it derailed some 4 hours ago. Hampered by darkness and rain, rescue teams continue to search the wreckage and the surrounding area for survivors of the worst train wreck in recent history. At this hour, the death count stands at 24, but the number is expected to rise. Officials fear that the impact of the crash may have hurled many passengers into the rain-swelled river, making recovery of their bodies impossible. Although any loss of life is, of course, tragic, tonight 2 deaths seem particularly so. Among the rubble of the first car, the bodies of Deputy Sam Dwyer and his prisoner, Draper Scott, were recovered. Scott was being transported to Redstone Prison, where he was about to begin serving a 15-year jail term for a crime police now know he did not commit. A short time ago, Nola Madison, the well-known actress who is presently a resident of Monticello, made a full confession to police, admitting that she killed Margot Huntington Dorn and framed Mr. Scott for the crime. We hope to have a special report with all the details surrounding this turn of events following tonight's early report.
Late! God, it was so late! April, what's the matter?
No! Nola killed my mother, and then she killed my husband.
Oh, he doesn't understand. My husband is Dr.
Thanks, Nicole. We're off the air now.
About ready to go home?
Oh, yeah. Would you hold me for a minute? I feel sort of cold.
It's been a rough night for you, for all of us. What a job you had to do. But you got through it. You're a real pro.
It's kind of late. I wonder if anybody was watching.
Well, I'm sure a lot of our friends are still up.
Oh, yeah. You don't think April would still be awake, do you?
I hope not. We'll stop by there first thing in the morning, all right?
Oh, did I tell you? Derek Mallory called me to give me this story in person. He sounded pretty shaken up.
Well, let's not waste our sympathy on him, please.
Why not?
Why not? We kept telling him Draper was innocent. I think he knew it all along. Yet what did he do? Had to make a quick arrest, pass himself off some kind of super cop.
The only reason he arrested Draper was because the facts pointed
Facts
that way.
were wrong, and you know it.
Derek had no way of knowing that.
If anybody's responsible for putting Draper on that train, it's Derek Mallory.
That isn't true.
You don't mean that. Please, honey, don't talk that way.
Sorry. I guess I must still be in shock.
Yes, of course. I'll hold on. The minute your father gets on that phone, I want to talk to him.
Molly, I can handle this. Really, I can.
I want to tell Dr. Galt what's going on. And I don't want you to sweet-talk him into letting you have your way. Not this time.
Molly, you are standing right here. You'll hear every word I say.
The minute that Dr. Galt finds out that he has a dangerous criminal up in his guest room, he'll say that I was right. That we should have called an ambulance. Or Sheriff Redding and get that man out of this house.
Hello? Yes, I'm still here.
Dr. Galt isn't in his room. I did manage to locate him, though.
Where is he?
In the hotel dining room. I can have him paged if you like.
Well, if he can't be reached, he can't be reached. I'll call in the morning. Goodbye.
Why didn't you leave him a message to call us?
Daddy must have had a terribly hard day. You see, he's in his room, fast asleep, and he left strict instructions not to be disturbed.
You can't be serious about letting that man spend the night here.
I most certainly am.
All those articles you read about how to keep a safe home tell you never to open the door to a stranger, and you're going to make a house guest of one.
Molly, he is unconscious. He is badly hurt. He's no threat to us.
He could wake up in the middle of the night and murder us in our sleep.
If you are that concerned, then bolt your door and put a chair in front of it.
I won't sleep a wink all night.
Well, then make yourself a cup of tea. That seems to soothe your nerves. Now, I'm going up and look in on him.
Emily? Emily, be careful. Please.
Please be all right, my darling.
What are you doing here? Why do you keep coming here and then leaving? What do you want? Oh, the gift. I forgot about the gift. But you remembered. If I take it from you, will I understand all of this? The last time you left before I opened it. Please don't go. It's a bracelet. Oh, it's lovely. But what does it mean? Who are you?
Why are you giving me this present? What does all this mean?
We do have to leave. Look, Mrs. Scott, it's not going to be as bad as you think. You can visit your husband every Sunday.
It'll be all right. I mean, we'll be in touch, I promise. Don't worry.
Mr. Scott?
You have to go.
I'm sorry we have to do it this way, Mr. Scott.
Draper, the silver bracelet.
How could I have ever thought of that as a gift?
Draper, this thing's gonna blow up any second. Quick! In my vest! The handcuff key! The handcuff key! Get out of my vest!
Lie still!
Stop worrying about me. I can hardly move, even if you got this thing off my leg. I think my brack's broken. Quick, get the handcuff key out of my vest. Unlock the handcuffs.
Are you with us? Yeah. Oh, if I can use two hands.
Draper! Kill that woman, did you?
No! Of course I didn't!
Glenn, for the love of God, get out of here! For your wife, for your kids, get out of here!
I can't leave you here!
Get out of here, Draper!
All right. I'll be back. I'm gonna get help.
There's fire everywhere.
Goodness.
It's so hot.
No, what's wrong? No, it's all right. The poor thing must be having a terrible dream. No, it's all right. Now you're safe here. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right, my darling.
What's going on in here?
I thought you were asleep.
With one eye open, I was. Then I heard him scream. It nearly took 10 years off my life.
You must have had a very bad dream.
What are you doing in here? And how come you're not dressed for bed?
Well, I wasn't tired. And, so I thought I'd stay up and read.
In here?
Molly, the man needs looking after.
Emily, how could you? If I hadn't come in here, you'd have spent the whole night alone with an imperfect stranger.
I know everything I need to know about him, Molly.
Oh, really?
Well, I know that he's hurt and that he needs me.
You were talking to him. What was that all about?
I was just trying to comfort him and let him know that he's safe.
Emily, if you're concerned with anybody's safety, it should be ours.
Oh, Molly, please, I keep trying to tell you. He's nothing to worry about. He's not going to ravish us and run off with the family fortune.
I don't even want to hear you say such things.
So please stop worrying.
That man could be a dangerous criminal for all you know.
He doesn't look like a dangerous criminal. Oh, Molly, the man is injured badly. Can't you see that?
What a time for your father to be out of town.
Look, it really is getting late. Why don't you go to bed?
Because I'm not tired now. Besides that, young lady, I'm supposed to be taking care of you, and I don't intend to let you spend the night in here alone with him.
Well, I'm going to stay here. He may need something.
If you want to play Florence Nightingale, I suggest you become a volunteer at County General.
Molly, I've had just about enough of your nonsense. Shh. Now, why don't you just go to bed?
Don't you raise your voice to me. What's gotten into you?
Look, Molly, why don't you just go back to your room and pull your covers over your head and have sweet dreams, okay?
If he moves a muscle, you call me.
Good night, Molly. That was the first time I've ever stood up to her. And you gave me the strength to do it.
Isn't somebody telling me there's a fire in this hotel? It's gonna be big trouble. Who is it?
It's me. Open up.
Hello, my pet.
What are you doing here?
I thought I'd do some bird watching, and you are the most beautiful blackbird I know.
You know, you have some nerve.
Well, aren't you going to invite me in?
No, as a matter of fact.
What's wrong? Did I forget the secret knock?
Elliot, do you know what time it is?
Yes, as a matter of fact, if my memory serves me, we've met before at this time, only you were too happy to see me.
That was ancient history, darling.
History has a way of repeating itself, Napoleon said.
What do you want?
Your company, my love.
Elliot, it is very late and I'm very tired, so would you please go away?
I refuse to leave this doorstep. Now, what would your neighbors say if they saw a strange man camping out there?
All right, look. You've got 5 minutes and then I am kicking you out.
All right, 5 minutes is more than enough. Time has always stood still when we were together.
Why didn't you call before you came? I could have saved you a cab fare.
You must have known I was going to come. You dressed for the occasion.
I do not appreciate being awakened in the middle of the night.
You can get back under the covers, honey. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind at all joining you.
Have you been drinking?
I was just relaxed. Why don't you just pour us a nightcap so we can unwind together?
What's the matter? You strike out at all the singles bars?
It's not nice. You're the only woman who really turns me on.
Listen, it is late, and flattery will get you nowhere. Besides, I'm a married woman.
I've never been the kind to kiss and tell.
Look, Elliot, will you just leave?
Raven, please let me stay.
Get away from here. Get out.
Some pity is all I ask. Some charity. Some compassion.
Yes, who do I look like, dear Abby?
You're the one I want to share my innermost thoughts with.
Lucky me.
You know, I'm in a very difficult situation. I just lost my wife. And now, today, I just lost my fiancé, too.
Well, this is the perfect time for me to say something to you. Have you ever heard the old saying that bad things happen in threes?
Yes?
Well, I have news for you. In case you didn't know, you've just lost me.